Well, I was partying, you know what I'm saying? I was young. Don't do what I did.
Calvin Bellamy, aka Coo Coo Cal, born July 4th, 1970. Today's feature is the story of how rapper Coo Coo Cal did everything he could to sabotage his own rap career and maybe even rappers from Milwaukee in general to follow. Also highlighting the 3 reasons he may have had the shortest reign in the history of chart-topping rappers. For those not familiar with Coo Coo Cal, back in 2001 he had the hottest rap song in the country with his hit My Projects that also sold the most of any Milwaukee rapper ever, selling over 1 million copies to date worldwide. I still remember the impact that song had playing on radio stations globally, and salute to Denny Osifo for reminding me of this perfect example of stunted growth. On September 18th, a week after 9/11, Coo Coo Cal dropped the most important album to ever come out of Milwaukee. As you can guess, the Midwest city was never known for the music, specifically rap music, and had no experience topping any charts until Coo Coo Cal did it with his lead single. Although it's considered a minor hit record, peaking at just 81 on the Hot 100, hip-hop showed its love by that song reaching #1 even though Jayz had just dropped the classic and my personal favorite Jay album, The Blueprint, a week prior. This was a standout moment for Milwaukee and all small cities not focused on in rap music at the time, giving us a glimpse into the hip-hop scene out there and what else it had to offer the culture. The answer would be not much, and a lot of it had to do with Cal not capitalizing on the success of his second album and first hit single, placing him in a position longevity couldn't find him. The Milwaukee rap scene completely went cold after, and so did Coo Coo Cal's music career. But for 8 weeks, beginning one of hip-hop's golden eras, the early 2000s, Milwaukee was on the map, even if the country was distracted by the events of 9/11 or the release of the hottest rapper in the game at the time, 6 and classic album. Around that time, it seemed all the big cities had an anthem repping where they're from. P.D. Pablo, Raise Up, putting on for the Carolinas, Clips, Virginia, Welcome to Atlanta, Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris, and a ton more, but none bigger at the time than My Projects, which the entire city embraced. But then Cal struggled with all the trappings of a chart-topping rapper and never seen the success of that song again. He was on the road to being one of the biggest rappers in the Midwest of his era, then completely disappeared from the scene and became a truck driver. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy Jayz, StuntedGrowthMusic. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Coo Coo Cal was a rapper from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but moved around a lot due to being an army brat, even spending time in Germany. He moved to Milwaukee around 12 years old. By that time, he had been dabbling in making mixtapes and also getting involved in the streets. He began releasing singles like Why They Call Him Crazy and initially signed a deal with Infinite Recordings. In 1999, at 29 years old, he released his debut album Walking Dead, gaining interest from major labels and not long after, signing a 5-album deal with Tommy Boy Records. Cal was set to release his sophomore album third quarter 2001, following the rise and peak of its lead single My Projects, released May that year. All summer it was the anthem, and Cal lived like a superstar in his hometown, but not for long. Stunt number 1, drug use.
I was missing shows and interviews was really the turning point.
What's that term?
They should have never gave you niggas money!
Well, that's emphatically true in the story of how Coo Coo Cal fell off, at least the first part of it. With success obviously comes money, and with money comes many side-ons like women, opportunity, more friends, drugs, and even fame. For a person not experienced with those things prior to having success and eventually money can do more damage than actually help the person. And help is exactly what Cal needed around the end of 2001, beginning 2002. With no blueprint set before him and the first from his city to put on national and even globally like he did, Cal's instincts told him to just enjoy the fruits of his labor, because either there's much more to come or it's all gonna be over soon, so why not? Cal chose to look at it through the lens, I'll just enjoy my time now, and whatever happens, happens. He got involved using cocaine and drinking heavily, causing him to miss out on opportunities because he was too high or drunk to wake up and attend things like promotional photo shoots, radio interviews, and even some shows Cal would often miss. This in itself could be a career killer because how else do you expect to become a bigger entertainer? You have to show up and entertain. Whether a radio interview, TV shows like Rap City and MTV, or actual shows he was scheduled to perform but often was a no-show, which caused stations to stop playing his record. He was too busy aiding an addiction that crept up on him from his overuse of the drug he was actually trying to sell. To his defense, it was difficult to notice he was throwing his career away because the money was still coming in on time due to his hit single and moderately successful album, along with being on tour and the shows he did show up to. Then his co-producers from My Projects were arrested on federal charges for running a cocaine ring, and police suspected Cal was involved. He became even more recluse, along with using even more, to the point he burned his bottom lip smoking. Without him taking advantage of promotional opportunities, he wasn't able to grow his fan base more than what his hit song got him. He eventually went to rehab, missing more valuable time that could have been put into his career. Stunt number 2, too many prison stints. Along with the drug use and not being prepared for promo opportunities like the time he visited WKKV-FM and forgot the lyrics to his own song live on air, Coo Coo Cal was also shooting himself in the foot as far as going to jail too often in the following years after the success of his hit song and second album. He was charged several times for disorderly conduct or driving with a revoked license. In 2004, he missed a scheduled performance at Milwaukee's African World Festival while he spent the night in jail over an outstanding warrant. He'd drive without a valid license while intoxicated and be pulled over doing more jail time, but none compared to the 4 months he did for cocaine possession in 2006. By then, Cal had no rap career to speak of, just 5 years after dropping his most important song and album that changed his life and could have changed the path for Milwaukee rappers. But like Cal himself said, he could have had 2 Bentleys parked outside of a trap house and still feel right at home. He loved the streets, but only thing the streets did for him was give him a drug addiction that took over his life and career and also sent him to prison multiple times in his prime. It's the one thing rappers have always struggled with, knowing when to leave the place you're the biggest target for everything, home. As a star rapper, who do you think the dealers want to sell to? Who do you think the cops arrest more? A rapper with newfound money and fame. Staying in the streets, Cal really had no chance, but it was his decision, and eventually he had to live with them stunning his growth. Stunt number 3, the Tommy Boy deal. Tommy Boy Records was an up-and-coming label in the 80s and early 90s, but caught its stride around the mid to late 90s after signing notable artists to the label like Queen Latifah, De La Soul, Coolio, Naughty by Nature, and more. In the early 2000s, as mentioned, they signed Coo Coo Cal and milked him for his hit single and second album right before they dissolved in 2002, becoming independent again after their relationship with Warner Brothers. Cal no longer had a major label machine behind him and had to go back to local Infinite Records to release his third album, Still Walkin'. That album peaked at 30 on the top R&B and hip-hop charts, but none of the singles charted or had the success of My Projects. Coo Coo Cal was officially a one-hit wonder. A fourth album was released in 2004, but by then, no one knew or remembered Coo Coo Cal outside his local neighborhood and rap scene in Milwaukee. Cal never got to release his 5 albums under Tommy Boy like they promised, partially because he wasn't in the mental space to do the work it takes to make and promote an album, and also Tommy Boy going indie at the wrong time. After 2004, Coo Coo Cal disappeared completely from rap, mainly due to a prison sentence in 2006 and being too busy getting his addiction under control. He'd later get his CDL license and began driving trucks across the country. All in all, Milwaukee will always have the song My Projects, and Cal can always say he had a hit rap song, but to lose almost everything for a drug and alcohol addiction is even more sad. He had something special, opportunity, but let it all go to waste. He was supposed to carry the Midwest on his back, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy Jayz, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.
Not just about my life, it's like more so giving youngsters awareness about the street life and drugs and alcohol and so forth.